Hey guys, Huzzy here bringing you another video. Now welcome back to Challenger Spectate series. So today we're going to be focusing in on a Gnar. It's a champion that I've recently picked up, and again, just to remind you guys how this series works is I scour the Western, solo queues, mainly EU West, because obviously that's the server I'm on. And I basically just find players that are excellent, and this guy is in, I think, top 10 of EU West right now. He's played Gnar recently, and I've picked him up, and I'm like, I want to get better at that champion, so let's see what a challenger player does different, if anything. Or maybe, again, sometimes it's not even a matter of them doing different things, it's just a matter of them doing everything a lot better. So that's what we're going to be doing. You'll also notice that Reckless is on the enemy team, Fnatic Reckless, and also I'm guessing that is Misfits Lawson. Again, I presume that's a Misfits player. I don't really follow. But just to remind, just to tell everybody once again, because it seems that, again, because Challenger people, there's not many of them. Some people recognize this person. I think we have spectated a game where it was Kled mid. Again, I don't think Kled mid is very good, but it's against an Aurelia. I'd probably say it's a lot better versus an Aurelia of all champions. But yeah, that's why the team comps are a little bit weird. And then in the bot lane, it's Heimerdinger support and Varus mid with Giant Steel somebody. So there's a few LCS players in this game. But again, we've got the weird problem of occasional stuttering when I'm locking onto champions. Don't know why. It must just be something with this patch or, the way that it is right now. But it is Gnar versus Kennen. So this is a pretty basic matchup in top lane. Obviously, we don't know who blind picked what, but my guess, one of them had to blind pick, so they picked a ranged champion that shouldn't get punished too much in lane, and the other one was probably thinking, there's Nidalee, the other one was probably thinking, okay, that person picked a ranged champion, I don't want to be bullied, I want to have a good lane phase, I'm going to pick a ranged champion as well. And obviously, Gnar is a hybrid ranged champion, half the time you're in mini, half the time you're in mega. But again, well, if you're a good Gnar, you can actually control your rage bar to basically be in mini form whenever you want and mega form whenever you want. But if you are doing what this Gnar is doing, which is just auto pushing, you can't help but turning mega occasionally. So he actually, if you look down here at the bottom left, right above my ad reel thing, you can see at level 1 he took Q, at level 2 he actually took E. I can pretty much guarantee why he took E at level 2 was just in case Nidalee decided to gank. So at least he'd have that jump to help himself escape or anything like that. Just to also make clear is that for some reason, and again, this is where I don't really know, the Gnar has taken Doran's shield and the Kennen's taken Doran's blade. I actually do not know why the Gnar wouldn't have gone Doran's blade himself. Maybe he thinks it's just better to have the defensive stats in the early game. But I actually think, where's First Blood in mid lane? I actually think that the Blade may have done a little bit more because, Gnar probably scales a bit better with AD than the Kennen does, so you could probably have positive trades. But that's just me. Again, he probably has his reasonings, and we can see how well this goes. But yeah. So mid lane, First Blood comes out. Let's move those around. So again, like I mentioned, I don't really rate Kled mid at all. But what I do probably rate it against the most is if someone is playing a bruiser in the mid lane. Well, Kled's a bruiser. They're playing Aurelia's technically a bruiser. Hey, that's fine. But to me, I don't rate Kled if you're playing against a mage. I don't see that being a good pick at all. But yeah. Okay, so lane is basically even right now with farm by the time a couple of these more die. He's getting some vision. Trundle on his own team, the Gnar's team, pinged that, there's potentially Nidalee. Both flash straight away. Trundle goes for a pillar. Gonna try and get the Nidalee, and she goes down, so that is just completely overextended Nidalee. In the enemy jungle, I think she was taking this camp here. Again, that's the bad thing with counter jungling is you're really, you're in the enemy territory. So if you get caught out, you're really caught out, and that is what just happened. Gnar doesn't get anything for it, but Trundle does. Both junglers blow their flash, so honestly, that's a pretty good situation. Gnar's a level down right now. This obviously is a very obvious gank coming out. Kennen actually turns. Might even try to just go for a kill on the Gnar. Minion's obviously focusing on the Gnar himself, but he managed to survive and he does get the kill. He's decided to go back instantly, probably because the lane is actually in a very good place. So you even see Trundle doesn't do anything to the lane. Kled gets another kill in mid lane, so he's going to go back. I guarantee he's going to teleport as well, most likely. Boom. Basically, the reason why that wasn't pushed after getting the kill is because you can actually freeze it right here if he wanted to. So far, this Gnar hasn't frozen this lane at all, and it doesn't look like he's freezing it now, because you can see he's auto-attacking the minions when they're at full health, which means he's not wanting to freeze, or he's just trying to trim the wave down a little bit. You can see now, one, he's still continuing to auto-attack, but two, there is more minions on red than there is blue, so this is naturally going to start pushing. So that's a bit of a weird play to me. Potentially, like, he could have froze there, but if he's anything like me, I kind of find freezing boring. So maybe he just wasn't interested in freezing. He wants to fight the cannon. Because, yeah, he is just pushing this as quick as he can as the Gnar. Okay, so very, very, very interesting first buy, and that is something that and again, this is where I can learn, because I want to play Gnar, I want to get better. This is something that I never, ever would have done in a million years. Look at what item he's bought first, everybody. Mercury Tread's first item without anything else. So he's got a Doran Shield, and he's got Mercury Treads. He goes for an all-in play, goes for an instant ultimate. Unfortunately, that didn't stun into the wall. Does go for a nice combo, though. And again, not every ultimate has to be a kill. If you just get lane pressure, that's good. Because you know that the cannon doesn't have teleport. Now you've got to be careful for the reverse. Wouldn't be surprised if this is an all-in with flash. Doesn't actually go for it. But yeah, Mercury Tread's first item. Obviously, that is for the one, reducing the damage that cannon actually does. But probably more importantly, it's for the stun reduction for the tenacity. Obviously, Kennon's majority of his damage will come when he stuns you. He can then do free damage. When you're, Kennon's ultimate and how it works now, I think it does more damage the more you're in it, because it does tick damage. So, yeah, it makes sense. I just personally never would have done it in a million years. And obviously, the other point that you can make is who is most likely to come top lane to try and kill him? A Nidalee, who also does AP damage. So, sure. What I probably would have done, again, this is where I differ. I probably would have gone for a Hex Drinker, I guess. That's what my slight variance would have been. But it makes sense. Again, you've got to be careful because obviously you've got very little health, but so does a cannon. But you've got movement speed, so you can dodge the cannon easier. You've got tenacity, so you don't get stunned as much. And you've got magic resist. So no, I guess it does actually really make sense. Anyway, there's a play happening here. Kled goes for an ultimate play. Doesn't manage to get it, but they do manage to steal away for the blue buff from a Nidalee. Very close, but that is honestly a good a good steal. Taking blue buff away from a Nidalee is always a fantastic thing to do. Because remember, the Nidalee, if you're relatively new to the game, she's changed over the years, but Nidalee was basically the OG Zoe. She was the kind of obnoxious, throw spears and stuff from range, and they basically half health or one-shot you. Well, the weird thing, and why so many people are confused about that whole situation with Zoe and then comparing to Nidalee, is Nidalee was like a massive problem for quite a few months back in the day. She used to be a mid laner, and Riot changed her completely to become a jungler. She no longer one-shots with spears. Like, they got rid of that whole concept. And then, and I think they even called it a relatively unhealthy game concept to have, and then they release a champion like Zoe, who basically does the same thing with her Q, but then Zoe even has a CC that benefits you even if you miss it. It's a zoning tool then. So that's why that whole situation is weird, if you've ever had the comparison with Nidalee and Zoe. But anyway, let's continue with the actual matchup. So, again, his build is fascinating me because these are items that I never would have thought to buy. So he's got a Negatron Cloak and a Dagger. So what is that? That is Wit's End, I think. God, again, the reason why I'm a bit confused is because I don't buy these items, really. So I never would have guessed, or I can't remember on the top of my head what the item build is. Damn. He is just going for this cannon's throat. Again, the thing you've got to be careful with when you're building specifically against your lane opponent is you've always got to ask yourself, is this going to hurt me in mid-late game? If, me rushing magic resist, is this going to hurt me in the next 5 minutes? The Kai'Sa who does AD damage, is she going to come top lane and kill me if I only buy MR? And that's kind of the questions you've got to ask yourself. And right now, I'd say the answer to that is no. And obviously, the benefit of having the MR is, you're laning against a cannon and the jungler's AP. But then you've got to ask, what happens if Aurelia roams? But then you've got to ask yourself, what is the likelihood of Aurelia actually roaming? Now, a lot of people will be like, really? There's so many questions. These are questions that good players ask themselves every minute of the game, subconsciously. You're not actually, saying it out loud or kind of, really in-depth kind of having the questions, but you're thinking about it. You're like, what's the likelihood of this? What's the likelihood of that? If I buy this item, will somebody counter with that way? That's all that League of Legends is. Third ultimate coming in, doesn't actually hit that one. There is a missing cannon somewhere on the map, so hopefully things don't go bad. Aurelia actually hits the Trundle. Enemy bot lane has roamed. Ooh, right on the tip of the stun. Couple flashes coming for the Trundle. Does go down. Kled comes in. All of the enemy team is in mid lane, by the way. I think Kled is also going to die, and boom. So Reckless picks himself up a kill. Meanwhile, Gnar stays top lane. My bot lane, I'm going to call them my bot lane. HuzzyGames pops his ultimate, throws his tower down, and they're just going to hold the wave. Random tower, I'm going to be honest, because you could have probably frozen the wave, but now you can't freeze because of the tower. But yeah, that's just one team roaming, one team isn't. Kennen picks himself up an assist. Obviously, Gnar gets a little bit ahead in farm. Not too much to like brag about anything. We had slight vision in the river, so there could be people coming up here if the Gnar's not careful. The Kennen returns. Is Aurelia here? I doubt it anymore. And he's okay. Alright, so again, you're just going to be careful of those roam plays. HuzzyGames was just probably looking to stop an Aurelia base. Because again, if you stop people base, you know, you give people advantage. You allow people to farm a bit more. Okay, Kennen, for some reason, was there? Okay, that's actually really weird. I don't know why he was, like, in this bush. Gnar might actually try to chase him down a bit here. Kennen does have flash. Kennen, he pops his ultimate. Remember, no, Gnar has got Mercury Treads. Oh, unfortunately, he doesn't hit that Q, and he is tanking. He tanks a couple more shots for his team. Trundle is tanking, but he can't actually get to him. HuzzyGames is going to try and do the damage. Narcos for a flash Q play. The stopwatch comes out. Trundle picks up the kill. Kennen picks up a kill on HuzzyGames, and then Italy picks up the kill on Trundle. Very messy situation, and obviously all what really made that mess was the stopwatch. And again, that's where, again, in the comments, let me know, do you like stopwatch? Do you hate stopwatch? It's very mixed from what I can tell, because people love it when it's benefiting them, but obviously you absolutely hate it because it's a free stopwatch, and, you know, it's not really a skill-orientated thing. Oh, yeah, it's a Wit's End. Damn. So, Wit's End. Again, I haven't bought Wit's End. Meanwhile, sorry, Teleport player missed that completely. Gets one kill. He might get another. Misses his Q. Varus probably gets a slow, and Gnar picks it up, so he gets himself a double kill. A couple pings by the Varus. You know, I think that's an LCS player, not happy that he wasn't given the kill. But again, Gnar used Teleport to come down, so I'd probably say it's fine. But yeah, so just to remind myself what Wit's End does, because again, I haven't bought that item in ages. 40% attack speed, 40% magic resist, unique passive, it's not saying on the screen, basic attack steal, 42 bonus magic damage on hit, and the other one is basic attack steal, I don't know why it isn't staying on the screen, basic attack steal, 3 magic resist from the target on hit, 6 if the attack is melee, up to maximum 30, so it's a magic resist item that does bonus magic damage on hit that also steals magic damage. Now again, I like the idea of the item because it's, you know, you're giving yourself lane pressure, but if you actually look at the enemy team comp and your team comp, it's not actually a great team item because again, when you're buying Wit's End, close. When you're buying Wit's End, you're stealing magic resist from people, and that's where if you're somebody that, you know, can use Wit's End, if you've got 2 mages on your team or something, it's very good because you're helping your team out by taking magic resist away from the enemy team. But considering it's, you know, AD, well, he does AP a bit, but mainly AD, and yeah, sure, 1 AP, it's not the most cost-effective item for your team, and that's where I say this Gnar has built, like, selfishly for his lane. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, by the way. I'm just pointing it out. Alright, Gnar goes on Reckless. This probably will be a 1v1 kill. Just to remind that he has got a very squishy build. Does pick it up, though. A lot of attack speed. And that was even with Kai'Sa using ultimate. And again, she's got teleport. She hasn't got heal. And obviously, that's the... If she had heal there, that fight could have probably been different. But again, some AD carries take teleport nowadays. And again, that's Fnatic Reckless, one of the best League of Legends players probably ever in history, who, recently, I don't really watch LCS, but I do know he subbed himself out because of the meta, because it wasn't an AD carry meta. He might be playing again, I'm not actually sure, but how that kind of sucks as an AD carry specialist, that when the patch is no longer for you, you purposely sub yourself out because it's a smart thing to do. You know, if your substitute on your team is a top lane player, and hey, top lane mages and stuff are being played in bot lane, well, he's probably better than your AD carry player of those champions. So that's why he subbed himself out. Okay, so farm-wise, doing pretty well on the 137 compared to 122. So the Gnar has gone from a position of being 401, which is, you know, pretty good. He's been involved in 50% of the kills so far as a top lane Gnar. He has now bought himself a Phage, so I presume this is probably for the Black Cleaver, which again, normally is the rush item. It's either Frozen Mallet or it's Black Cleaver, usually. Some grouping is going on. Let's just point out that he's the top laner, but they have now swapped position. So Kennen is now going against a Kled, who is slightly down on XP, and the Gnar, who's 401, who is level 11, is now going to start to group. again, why did this happen? Could be for a couple of reasons. One, Gnar, you're strong, you group instead of me. Give Kled time to catch up on farm. Or the Kled thinks he can just take the cannon, and then the Gnar is more useful in team fights. So we'll see. Alright, so Gnar finds Reckless once again, which is, again, probably very annoying to him. Gonna go for a little bit of a fight. Does have his ultimate. Is got the flash straight away, which again is very nice. Aurelia is engaging with her ultimate. A lot of damage instantly, and yeah, that's just nuts. And again, FPS is a bit like, it says 78 up here, but it looks lower than 78, so I'm guessing there's just something wrong with the replay files right now. But that's what they get for basically being 3 in mid lane without probably like paying attention too much to what the enemy team could do. Gotta be really careful in those situations. Right, Gnar's probably just going to try and go all in. Doesn't manage to get anything. And boom, that's a pretty bad situation for the Gnar's team, to be honest. Again, a lot of people are like, oh, he went bot lane. There was nothing he could do in that situation. They got caught out in mid. Aurelia basically took out the Varus by herself. He didn't, I don't think, had Mega Form when the fight actually happened. I think it just ran out. So yeah, in reality, it sucks, but he really couldn't have done anything. And that's why you're not seeing any pings of the team going, like, pinging on question marks on the Gnar. Because there was just nothing he could have done. Got to be pretty careful, I'd say, from him overextending here. But yeah, so far, again, these Challenger videos, they are commentaries, but they're, you know, you can try and pick up on a little thing or two. So what I've picked up on this game is his build is very interesting to me. And it's definitely something that I'm going to try if I'm ever against an AP in top lane. You know, what we don't know is if this is his standard build in general. Like, does he do this every time? I presume no. I presume he's altered it for an AP mage against him. But yeah, if I'm ever against a Kennen or a Swain, Vladimir, whatever AP mage, I'm probably going to try it out because it seems interesting. It's very high dueling pressure. Enemy team, this is a very questionable teleport if this goes through. See, go. So that Kennen flashes in, double stun by the Gnar. He flashes in and instantly, and I mean instantly, well, teleports and then instantly flashes. Gnar gets a double kill. Braum flashes after him. Trundle's nearby. Potentially he's going to help out. Gnar just gets away. Double kill for himself. So as for a trade, it's a 2 for 2. But they do get a tier 2 tower in bot lane. There's a few flashes that get done. Meanwhile, though, you've got the Kled that's split pushing here versus the Aurelia that's going in mid lane. Again, I'm not entirely sure if the Kled is now avoiding the Aurelia. Because again, his lane phase seemed to go okay. But maybe he's now avoiding, thinks that he's got outscaled by her. I don't know. Because it does seem a little bit weird. That you're just like letting Aurelia have mid lane pressure. Because mid lane arguably is the most important lane in the game. When it comes to like killing towers and stuff. Because it opens up the whole map. You know, if you kill like, say, this tower here. It gives the enemy control of this maybe. Because you have to get pushed back to back here. Meanwhile, a couple deaths happen. Gnar's teleporting in. Doesn't get there in time. And I think he does cancel it. He does cancel it so it doesn't get full cooldown. Aurelia goes for an ultimate play straight on the Varus. Flashes out of the stun, fortunately for him. Does probably go down. Yep, does go down, but she does end up dying. Gnar, by the way, is in the back line here, looking for the Nidalee. I'm not sure if he got anything else. Don't think so. Does get speared once. There's a Braum that's going to be potentially his prey, but it does seem he's very heavily tunneled on that target right now. Oh, that's stun. Good stun by Heimerdinger. Reckless does go down. They do get the Braum kill as well. And again, meanwhile, Kennen is split pushing. So again, for a Challenger game, it does seem a little bit messy. That, like, it's always one team that has, like, more people than the other. It's always, like, one person who's split pushing who shouldn't be split pushing. And then one people get caught out. Again, this is a Challenger game. And like I said last episode, and like I probably will say every episode, is, again, like I've mentioned always, is picking up mistakes doesn't mean that people are bad players. These are Challenger players. They are way better than me. So, again, some people always have a weird concept of like, oh, if you're a worse player, you never can pick out mistakes. Of course you can. If that wasn't the case, then none of the LCS casters could ever cast LCS games. Of course you can, because commentary... not even commentary, analytical play is just pointing out a mistake, and if you know anything about the game, you can point out millions of mistakes in every game, and what you've got to basically say, this is a Challenger game, and if I point out, I don't know, 10 mistakes in a Challenger game, the difference is, yes, these are mistakes, and you're expecting no mistakes from Challenger players, but if you did this in a Silver game, there'd probably be 100 mistakes that you could point out. That's the difference. All right, Heimerdinger engages. He does get his ultimate tower down. Kled comes in for the backline. Gnar's going to try and pick up the Braum. Does get stunned. Heimerdinger tower does not finish up the Braum. Kled finishes up. Oh, good Q. Kled finishes up the Kai'Sa. Brom gets killed by the Gnar. Really nice Q hit there. Aurelia and then the kind of fighting does seem to be going a relatively even fight, but actually probably in the Kled's favor. So maybe he shouldn't be avoiding her and just should be directly fighting her. Whoa, that was a bad Varus ultimate. Seems that this Varus is having a very rough time this game. My team get engaged on, not a very good situation for them, and boom. Again, people are getting caught out at the weirdest times. Like, just, it kind of looks to me is like laziness is happening. Like, oh, I'm just going to sit here with my bow and just, you know, attack the tower a lot and not think that I'm going to get engaged on. Like, it's bizarre. It does happen. Everybody has games that you're just a little bit switched off. You're not thinking fully. You're a bit tired. You're, you know, I don't know, anything. Your phone's buzzing. Your friend's having a crisis. Anything can happen. And that's the human element to solo queue, and that's why I've always said you can't really compare fully solo queue to competitive for an abundance of reasons. But one of the big reasons is, do you think on the LCS stage that many of these players have big distractions? No. They're an LCS stage. There's no one like knocking on their front door with the mail. There's no phones ringing. You're in the zone on the LCS stage comparing to solo queue. It's a completely different world. You know, you don't have your dog coming and going wanting a walk. Like little things like that can just make the difference between the two different things. And even this is a challenger game, and in a challenger game you'd even expect a higher, you know, attention rate than the other ratings in League. So yeah. Also, just to mention, you know, even though we're focusing on the Gnar, the Kennen's build is actually very interesting to me. That is the first ever Kennen I believe I've seen that has built this item. Spellbinder. Again, I'm not a massive fan of this item. I understand why some people do it, and to me, it is built more for AoE burst mages. So that's why like Vladimir likes it, because you use it, then your big AoE burst damage. So that's, I guess, why Kennen's getting it, because it fits into that trend. But I'm just not a very big fan of the item overall. I don't know why. Like, it takes so long to charge to get that 100 AP. It's only cost effective from my knowledge when it's above 70 AP or something like that. So I don't know. It's a bit of a weird thing for me. But anyway, let's see. Because again, split pushing is happening. And split pushing is always very interesting to me because, you know, split pushing is never mediocre. It either works really good or it's really not worth doing. So far, he is nearly half health this tower. He's got vision of Nidalee. He's got vision of 3 of them in mid lane. The one person he doesn't have vision of is Kennen. Now he sees the Kennen. His team is engaging to stop them base. They are actually outnumbering the enemy team. So again, like I mentioned earlier, this is a weird game because there just seems one team is always outnumbered. Because the Nidalee, I guess, made the mistake of just showing herself. Like, she was getting the tower, and then the enemy team stayed too long. So it's like, okay, if your Nidalee is top lane, showing that she's not there, your Kennen just shows in bot lane that he's trying to stop the Gnar, you have to back off, because you're now outnumbered. Anyway, HuzzyGames is going to try and stop the Kennen. Obviously, a big Kennen ultimate in the middle of, like, a Baron pit would be quite painful. They do know that Nidalee's in the area, so let's see who gets this Baron. If, honestly, I'd want Gnar to ping over there and get rid of the blasting plant, and maybe, like, even go for these kills. Like, he gets one. He hopefully will probably get another. Unfortunately not. So that is not going to be a Baron, I don't think, anymore. Because they do actually go for the kills rather than the Baron. They might... Good flash. They might just try to go for the Nidalee just for a couple extra kills. There we go. There's the Varus ultimate that hit. They're leaving it complete for her. She actually does flash. That's a very questionable flash to me. And boom, Gnar picks it up. Again, that's the type of kill that nobody should be upset about. Like, yes, you'd want to give it to your Varus. But she used flash. She's a Nidalee. She, you know, there's a very, like... There's a chance that she could escape, like, pounce away, and boom, she's out of range. So anybody picking up that kill is completely fine in my book, and it should be in theirs. So yeah, my team, again, whenever I commentate, I always say my team, depending on which person I'm, like, commentating about. They probably have Baron fully in their sights now, because they tried it once. It went relatively okay. They got a bunch of kills. So they're probably like, we should just keep trying to do that Baron. Even if we don't get that Baron, we're going to bait them to kill, and we can just keep farming them in team fights. But Gnar's now, by the way, this Gnar is 815. His build, if we go over it, so again, he started with the Wit's End. He then went to Black Cleaver. I think then he bought a Chain Vest, but he's now completed his Frozen Mallet. This is basically... It's not really a grouping Gnar build. It's more of a split-pushing Gnar build, because with the attack speed to wave clear, and then the Frozen Mallet is definitely a 1v1 item to chase people down or keep them away from you. So yeah, we're just probably going to see this Gnar in bot lane for the rest of the game, I'd imagine. unless he's going to teleport to help. Like, if his team want to do Baron, he's got teleport up. He's got way more pressure in bot lane than probably anybody on the enemy team right now. So he's just going to try and pressure as much as he can. You just saw the cannon. He's 2 levels above the cannon. So what I would think is he's going to try and kill him. Like, I don't see anything else is going to happen apart from him trying to kill. So he gets the Kennen, by the way, to half health. Kennen ultimate comes down. Kai'Sa's there too. Gnar ultimate straight into the wall. Doesn't really do much damage to Kai'Sa. My team, or this team, should do Baron instantly because there's 2 people down in bot lane. Kai'Sa's going to try and go for it. Gnar flashes away. He dodges the W and boom, he survives. Really nice play. Now let's watch the Baron. Enemy team do engage. Baron is now resetting. But they basically just kill these lot. At least a couple of them. And then they can return doing the Baron. And boom, they do survive. Gnar's probably going to return to bot lane to stop this push happening. And then they get Baron, and yeah, that's just a really good situation. And again, a lot of that happened because of the Gnar split push. He brung 2 people in bot lane, killed one of them, and didn't even die. So that's what you'd call, like what I've said before, is that's a successful split push. The average person that split pushes in solo queue does it for the wrong reason. Like, I would say for the average player in solo queue, don't split push. But when these people are challenger, they know what they're doing. Yeah, that was a fantastic split push. It was baiting them away from the Baron, so it's the furthest point away from the Baron, literally, like here down to here. Kills one of them, survives, boom. Like, that's just an ultimate split push. So again, he's probably going to stay bot lane. He didn't even have to use teleport in that situation. So build continues. He is going for now, yeah, he's going for a Guardian's Angel by the looks of it. Which again, survival, if he does get caught out in a 2v1, if he is going to split push, he can survive it, or hopefully kill one before the Guardian's Angel pops. Then the GA will pop and he comes back up and maybe kills another person. So yeah, like, ultimate, like, this video might even be called, like, how does a challenger Gnar split push? Because you're seeing it. It's the build, it's the decision making, it's like where to split push and why, and you can clearly see the reasons why he's doing it. You can actually see he is hiding in the enemy jungle right now looking for a pick. You can see Nidalee is right here, and if that Varus ult hit, he actually probably would have got a kill. But he backs away, again, trying to hide, trying to be sneaky, tries to get a pick every now and then. Something that I personally wouldn't really do on Gnar, but he's doing it, and this is where I can learn while doing a commentary and challenger players. Really useful in my opinion. So I don't know how much gold he's got. He's got 1150, which means in 50 gold, I think he can go back, or might be able to do it now. He can complete his GA, but I don't think he's going to. Again, whenever you've got Baron, you need to maximize the time with Baron. Your mid lane's pushing, your top lane's pushing. You don't need to go back to get GA right now. It's not optimal to do so. He has got, by the way, 3 levels on the Aurelia. It's either worth him just, like, basically trying to fight her, maintaining pressure in bot lane, or just group mid and try to get that tower. Heimerdinger, by the way, takes out the Kennen by himself as a support, which is kind of funny. They do break into the base. Kled goes for a big ultimate. Meanwhile, Gnar is now starting to group. They get 1 inhibitor. Then they're probably going to just end up tanking that. Gnar doesn't tank it. He leaves it to Trundle. They're going to get another inhibitor. So for 2 for 1. Again, thanks to the Gnar the split push, it was already there. And they might go for the end here. I'm not sure. Because the enemy team might be able to defend. Aurelia ult comes down. Varus is very low health. Aurelia gets the resets. Varus bought a stopwatch. Does manage to not survive because Aurelia gets another lovely stun. Gnar did, by the way, die. He jumped into the middle of them. They all focused him while his team was focusing the Aurelia with GA. When it didn't even get popped. So again, a pretty messy situation. And all that comes from people kind of being a bit lazy and getting caught. Again, mainly this Varus. So even though they had Baron, they do lose a team fight, but in the end of the day, it's pretty much a fine situation because they honestly get 2 inhibs. So all they really got to do to win this game is they go top lane, probably as 5. Like, what would be interesting now is a learning point. Does the Gnar go with them or does the Gnar go bot lane? And then you just get the last objective, and then basically the enemy team will get out pressured. Too many minions, too much pushing power, and then, you know, a lot of the time it's inevitable. You know, I personally have won games in situations that I've got no inhibs, no Nexus towers. It is possible to turn a game like that, but it's very unlikely. Especially at this level, challenger players that really know what they're doing. And again, if you ever wanted more, you know, more proof that this dude is doing a split push build. So his final item, this is a relatively squishy Gnar build. All, like, he looks tanky here, but all of that is basically health and, like, a little bit of resistances. But he's buying another recurve bow. All that I can think that's going to be is, what, a Guardian, a Blade the Ruined King, I think. Like, that is just an ultimate split push build, attack speed, pushing, going for their objectives. And again, like I mentioned, like what's interesting to me, is he going to split push or is he going to group? He's choosing to split push. He's got teleport up, so if his team get in trouble, he can always teleport over, which again is risky because his team could die before his teleport even completes. But what he's wanting to do is probably let his team, like his team should not be going crazy right now. I'm actually expecting the teleport to come in, which it does. That was a little bit craziness from the Trundle. Honestly, a little bit too early in my opinion. He doesn't actually get the stun off. Missing everything, actually. Kennen uses his ultimate, though, so it's a trade. But yeah, that, unfortunately, I'd say was a little bit bad play by the Trundle. But you have to remember that there are a lot of inhibitors being already being taken, so they're just going to be patient. And again, that's what that Trundle wasn't just then. He was not patient. Should have let the Gnar get into the enemy base, split them a little bit more. Kled goes for a full engage. Don't know if it's a great idea. Okay, so no, Kennen actually didn't use ultimate. Nidalee's jumping on the Gnar to the side. Heimerdinger does go down. Kled in the middle of the fight does also go down. So you can see, this is not an easy fight to win. When there's some misplay happening by the Gnar's team, yeah, it's not easy. Challenge your players, man. They know what they're doing. And if one makes a mistake, they are going to pounce on that mistake. Now, what you can see for that play, because of the inhibitors, they do lose both the Nexus towers. So even though it's a pretty bad situation for the Gnar's team, there was a positive in it. But again, I would put most of that blame that I would say what happened just there, honestly, all goes back to that Trundle. Diving them before the Gnar had pressure in bot lane. Wait, be patient. There's no need to rush in those situations when you've got 2 inhibs. And again, that's a challenger player. I'm not better than him, but that's just obvious. And again, the reason why I can say that and why some people may be a bit confused is it's not obvious sometimes when you're in game. It's a completely different experience. You know, what I'd say to you guys, if ever you want to test this theory, is play a game of League and, you know, have a game that you think you've had a relatively good game and be like, oh, I didn't make many mistakes that game. Then I challenge you a couple days later, watch the replay of that game and try to be unbiased. You'll spot yourself making a lot of mistakes. If you're actually unbiased, you'll spot yourself making mistakes because it's really easy to. So yeah. Anyway, Gnar's going to return to bot lane. He doesn't have teleport anymore, so you've got to be careful if he is going to go for a split push, but he is just waiting. Dragon is a mountain dragon up in 50 seconds. I wouldn't expect this game to last too much longer. They might try to Baron and then just go for the throat. But again, no Gnar. So this is a very similar situation that happened before. Baron is coming up soon. Gnar is going to try to have pressure in bot lane. Can he get 1 or 2 people to go for him while his team does Baron? Again, the difference this time is he has no summoners. He doesn't have teleport. He doesn't have flash. So if he gets caught, he really gets caught. So he does decide, he does the smart thing. He sees Kennen. He doesn't know if anybody else is around. So he just decides to back off. And maybe he'll group here. I don't know. But you can see on the enemy team, the Kennen does have teleport. And again, for a challenger player, this Gnar and the enemy team, they will know that he has got teleport. You know, in Challenger, people really pay attention to that type of thing. Anyway, it does seem that Gnar is just going to take this time and do the dragon, or not. Okay, he just returns. So he sees the cannon. He is going to return to the split push. To probably just try to get 1 or 2 of them to go for him. And again, the same situation. Go for the bot lane. The inhibitor is respawning pretty soon. It just has. So he's now back on the inhibitor. So now the enemy team have to decide. Do they go stop the Baron, or do they stop the Gnar? They can't really do both efficiently. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Kennen all-ins the Gnar, which is basically like a pointless exercise at this stage. But there you go. Aurelia is now in bot lane. He gets the Baron. He's still got ultimate, so he gets 1 kill. I don't know if he can actually take the Aurelia as well. But even just doing what he's done already, by the way, has been relatively effective. Wonder if he can survive. He probably can't. Nope. But he does take a relatively low. Again, that split push for the 2nd time this game has given his team the Baron. Basically an uncontested Baron, really. Kled finishes the inhib, which I would say is worth. I guess you could have waited, but again, a bunch of his own team, by the way, died to the Kai'Sa at the Baron. So the only one with Baron buff now is the Trundle. Which again, they're getting inhib, and a lot of people are like, oh, damn, that's not a good situation. I would wager this game is probably not long from ending. Probably they will respawn, group as 5. Like, they want to end right now, by the way. Like, they're like, we have to try and end. Because I reckon if the Gnar's team spawn, group, I think it's over. But no, actually I was wrong. So it's a Ginsu's Rage Blade as the final item. So yeah, a ultimate, like, I'm just going to fight 1v1 people. Honestly, it's probably a very fun build on Gnar. Very, very fun. I don't know how effective it is, like, if you get caught a lot. If you get 2v1'd, I don't think it'll go that well because majority of the time there's been these 2v1s in this game, one person has engaged early on the Gnar, he's killed them, and then, you know, it's a free kill. If 2 people engaged on this Gnar at the same time, I don't know if it's going to go well for the Gnar, personally. But anyway, they're going to do the mountain. Oh, actually, they're ignoring the mountain. They shouldn't. They should finish that because it makes it easier to end the game. Boom. He doesn't waste his smite on it, because why would you? And they're going to group together. And this is where I'd actually want to see the Gnar not split push myself. But his playstyle has been all about split pushing. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. There's an inhib open in mid lane. You've got Nidalee down there that you've got full vision of. He does tank a spear. He is looking to potentially go all in for this. Throws a cube, misses. So yeah, he's just remaining on the split push. Gnar goes for a... Oh, is he trying to backdoor? Alright, so Kled, sorry, he's trying to backdoor. Let's see what actually happens here. He's got GA up. Enemy team's coming in. Gnar's coming over to help. Let's see if the game ends. And there you go. So a backdoor wins the game. And that's a pretty funny situation. So there you go. Challenger games. Split pushing with the Gnar. Again, very effective. He gave his team 2 Barons. Again, his build has been the most interesting thing to me. He's played it well. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. You can see this game actually was quite close. If this game went on longer, it potentially could have got a little bit iffy. Because look, the enemy team, just to make everybody clear, the enemy team had more kills than the team that won the game. And the gold difference was only 2,000 gold in a 35-minute game. That's like nothing. So very close game. But anyway, that's going to be it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, throw a like on it. Subscribe if you haven't. And obviously just to remind everybody, that was Fnatic Reckless. And look how well he did. And he was actually going AP. So his build actually did benefit that Gnar. Just to point out too. Anyway, like, subscribe. See you guys next time. See ya.